This is Above the Treeline Canyon Commentary, episode 7. We're going to talk about the physics of hiking and its implication on your abilities and how it can get hikers into trouble on the trail. Let's get into it. It is another lovely day on the trail, so I've put up a few videos on the Colorado Trail. This is another one. Beautiful day. Yes, it's cold, lots of snow, but I'm out here by myself. It is glorious. Okay, so physics on the trail, right? If you've seen my shorts about going uphill and downhill, I'll rehash those here for you. When you go uphill, you are doing positive work because you're working against gravity, and that energy translates, or the energy being used, I should say, translates into higher heart rates, you're sweating a lot, and breathing hard. So your breathing plus your heart rate all goes up because you are expending more energy, overcoming the force of gravity. Going downhill, it's the exact opposite. Gravity is giving you energy, potential energy, and that energy has to be captured in one way or another. Law of conservation of energy says it has to go somewhere. It can't be created or destroyed. It has to be translated into something else or transferred into something else. So going downhill, you translate that energy into velocity. People try to move quicker going downhill for that reason. Or it gets translated into impact. So as you brace yourself going down the trail, you brace yourself. That's you absorbing the energy of gravity going downhill. You also can use, hiking poles like this to help transfer that energy elsewhere, like into your shoulders and into another contact point with the ground instead of into your feet or your knees. Another piece of it, since snow creates an interesting artifact when it comes to friction, right? So friction is basically a transfer of heat into the surface, and that absorbs impact, right? It transfers impact energy. And so thinking of it like this, when you have friction on snow or a lack of friction on the snow, you have to take an extra little bit of effort to brace yourself because there's no friction to absorb where you step. Ooh, I'm going the wrong. Am I going the wrong way? No. Watch where you're going. Don't get lost out here. So something to keep in mind is, let's see. Watch where the guy was stepping. There we go. Good. I see it. Good. So there you go. Me out here making content, not paying attention, almost lost the trail. Okay, so that right there was a great lesson of having divided attention while doing one of these. I don't like creating content for the sake of creating content. And this is not a glory shot or anything like that. This is a lesson in real grounded where you put your feet type of stuff. And I nearly lost the trail there, so I had to stop and check my map, check my compass, and found that I was not actually in the wrong place. The wind had blown over the trail right there, so I had to just slow down a little bit and kind of gather my footing, if you will. Here's another great example here. This got a tree over the trail, so we're going to find a way around it by going. Here we go. Yep. There's the trail right there. Everybody's fine. Oops. So this is important. Little important trail lesson. Don't let the content have you need search and rescue out here. So focus on the terrain, focus on your environment, focus on the surroundings, and the content will write itself. So that was a lesson, a little bit of a lesson learned right there. But kind of getting back into it, so what I was going to get into actually when it comes to search and rescue out on the trail like this, people think that, well, I went uphill, going downhill should be easy. Actually, that's not quite true. More and more people get in trouble on the way back to their starting point than they do going up. Because when you're going up, you're rested, you're fresh, so your muscles are not tired of, you're putting all that energy in, all that work in. So you don't realize just how far you've gone, how much energy you've expended, how many resources you have left in your pack. And then you find yourself, oh, I am out of water. I am basically out of gas. I can't move. The altitude got to me. You're also up too late in the afternoon, so it starts to get dark. Lose the trail. All these great and wonderful, not so wonderful, things that can happen to you when you're out hiking because you're not paying attention to the energy that's being expended. Okay, so going uphill versus downhill, you are kind of, when you go downhill, you're reversing the amount of work that you're doing, positive work versus negative work. So when you get back to the trailhead, the work you've done is zero. But the energy you have expended, E equals 1/2 mv squared, is not dependent on the vertical velocity you've gained or lost. It's gained solely on, well, E equals 1/2 mv squared. It's based off of velocity. That's your, whoops. It's like I said, watch footing. Okay, we're good. So that's something very important to keep in mind is people get themselves into trouble out on the trail like this. I mean, I'm not here by myself. I saw only one other person out here today. The trail is pretty well marked, as it were, but if I were to get stuck out here, thankfully I've got satcoms, so call for help. I would have to wait until help gets here. So that's why it's important to know your limits. I wanted to go and summit there's a pass a few miles behind me, but I didn't get here early enough in the morning, and I'm a little winded. So I decided, you know what, I've gone about 10,000, 11,000 steps or so, about 4 or 5 miles. I thought, okay, that's enough. We're gonna stop, turn around, and go home. So right now I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, legs are a little tired, but my feet are not sore. I'm not, don't feel like I'm overheating. I'm well insulated. The wind is a little rough in spots, but I am moving well enough where my internal heat is regulating that just fine. So I said, you know what? I got the content that I wanted. I got the steps that I wanted. This isn't a glory event. It's not a glory channel. This is grounded, real world experience. And you got to see me do this kind of in the moment, on the fly, where like, okay, did I lose the trail? Did I lose my footing? How do I safely multitask while respecting my limits, respecting the environment, and respecting the terrain up here in beautiful Colorado. God, I can't get enough of these views. Well, we're about a mile or so from the trailhead. It's enough for one day. Thank you for listening to this episode of Canyon Commentary. Sorry. Maybe you learned something. Feel free to laugh at me for my, like, oh, you're making content. You're getting yourself into trouble on the trail. Don't be a glory hound. You're right. I won't. That's the plan anyway. See you on the summit.